Hello, good morning. My name is Irene Bangwell, and I'm so happy that we're finally here at our day 27 of the Purpose Challenge. So today's task, I decided to drop an audio for it instead, because there's a lot of explanation I need to do, and I think if you listen to me, you'll understand it better than just reading the task. Today's task is special. I want you to design an affirmation for your entire family. In my book of affirmations, there are 3 kinds of affirmation. The first one is the affirmations we say in our head. Many times, that's the most powerful affirmation. We don't voice it. We don't say it to our children. We don't say it out. But it's actually our foundation. It's our belief system. So for me, the first affirmation I usually would ask parents to do is to write something that they repeatedly say to themselves to the point that it sticks in their own head. You can be telling your child that the child is smart, but inside you're picking out the flaws and you're afraid. So the first affirmation I would expect you to write today is an affirmation that you're going to read to yourself. The second is an affirmation that you're going to speak over your children. And the third is the affirmation that your children will speak to themselves. First affirmation, what you say in your head. How you get it there is write it out, stick it on your wardrobe door, read it to yourself. I have brilliant kids, amazing kids. God's presence is all over them. My children make the right choices. They are intuitive, they're leaders, they are kind. You say that to yourself. Then you have the ones you speak over your children. And you can do that every morning before they go to school or every night before they go to bed. And then finally, you have the one that your children read to themselves. So I want you to write that 3-way affirmation today. But here's what I want you to do. You recall that when we first started, we started out asking you, you're 70, 80 years old, your children call you, what kind of phone calls do you want to receive? Fantastic. The things you wrote about, we want them to find their way into your affirmation list. You also remember that at the beginning, we asked you to remember your children's birth stories. Why did you call your child this name? What does this name mean to you? What are the memories of their conception? What are the memories of the journeys that brought them to being? Beautiful. We also want the words you chose to express their birth stories to find its way into the affirmation. So let me start from the top. You said when you're 70, you want to get a phone call that your son is just such a blessing to his wife. Your daughter is such a blessing to her husband and children and the community. You want to get good report. You want people to run into you and say your children helped them. So you want to put in your affirmation that my children are helpful and they're a blessing in their generation. So that's to do with in 70 years time, what kind of phone call do I want to receive? Then the second part has to do with where you're sitting down and thinking to yourself, my baby, what was the journey? I talked about my first daughter, how I said, I want this girl to be a leader. I want her to have self-control and this and that and that. I want her to have a lot of self-restraint. And I remember my journey around it. Beautiful. So I'm going to build it into my affirmation. I have a strong girl. She's not pushed over by peer pressure, blah, 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 that kind of thing. Then you remember just a few days ago, I talked about your traits. In those traits, I told you to look for your positives and your negatives. I want you to affirm the positive. I want you to redirect the energy on the seemingly negatives and put it in your affirmation. So that's 3 things that have to be in your affirmation. And then finally, go to your behavior chart. What are the core behaviors you see across the year 1, year 3, year 5, year 7, year 10? Put it in your affirmation. What are the academic successes or milestones that you see? Put it in your affirmation. What are their talent plans and goals you have? Put it in the affirmation. And then finally, what are some skills you want to build? Or you're passionate about, or you saw that they kept recurring in everything you were writing? Put it in the affirmation. So when I'm writing this affirmation, I would usually put it this way. My daughter, named so. Then I'll chant the name. Like I'll say, like number one's name is Brianna. I would say Brianna, leader, conscientious. I would chant it without saying you are a leader. I will call the name, then I would chant the affirmation. Right? Especially because the chant is my own personal affirmation. And even when I'm talking to the child, I would use it. Let me tell you why what you're about to do is powerful. You want to set a tone in your home for what you believe, what you think, what you speak, how you act. But you don't just want to do it for yourself. You want it to go, happen in your home. My husband was talking to me about a book he read this last month, which I'm going to be reading in March, called The Jewish Phenomenon. He said Jewish kids, part of the reason Jewish kids excel is because their parents brag on them from when they're kids. I don't mean the kind of bragging of saying, my child is better than yours. That has no basis. No two children are going on the same journey. I'm talking about where they say mothers gather and they say, my son will bring a solution to this nation. My daughter will do this. And guess what? They do it where the children are. So the children rise up and say, you know what? My mother has already started bragging. I've got to do this. So you get the idea. So today's affirmation is 3-way. Something you say to yourself, something you say to your kids, something your kids say to themselves. Don't make it more than 8-10 sentences. Try. Don't make it more than 8-10 sentences. And if your kids are much younger, make it even shorter. You want them to memorize it. You want them to say it on the ride to school, on your way to church. You want it to become a part of them. But now, after doing that, after writing 3-way affirmation, make sure it contains the meaning of their name, their birth story, your dream when you're 70, what kind of phone calls you want to get about them. What are some things you saw, like what's the meaning of their name? I think I said that. And then also include what are the traits you've seen in yourself and them, and then includes their behavior, academic milestones, their talents, the essential skills you want them to build. You feel the idea? So it's going to be a very robust affirmation. So at the end of the day, put a screenshot of your affirmation page, and I would be happy to give you a heart for doing that. All right?